What's going on, nation? I'm Scott from muscularstrength.com, and today we're going to be talking about how to pick the right deadlift variation for your goals. Now, I did make a video in the past, one of my Versus series videos, that goes really deep into detail on both of these exercises, and I'll link to that down in my pinned comment section below if you guys want to check it out. But for today, we're just going to go over some of the basics, some of the basic mechanics of each movement to help you decide where you should start. Now, in terms of powerlifting, if you're getting into powerlifting, the conventional and sumo deadlift are accepted in powerlifting meets. You can do either one. And at that point, it comes down to preference more than your body itself. What I mean by that is some things that are going to affect you and your ability to do a conventional deadlift or a sumo deadlift is going to be your flexibility and obviously your ability to get into proper form. So what does a conventional deadlift look like? Well, a conventional deadlift is your feet about shoulder width, maybe a little closer, maybe a little farther apart. And then what you're going to do is bend down and grab the barbell so that your arms are as straight as possible. Whether you're doing sumo or conventional, guys, the wider your arms are like this, the heavier the weight's going to feel, and the more the bar has to travel. In order to maximize the deadlift, you want the bar to have to travel as small a range of motion as possible. That's why I wear wrestling shoes or I do barefoot as opposed to wearing like a shoe with a thick sole on the bottom. That's a big no-no. If you have shoes like that, take them off when you deadlift. So you're going to get into position like this. You're going to let your arms hang down as straight as possible to reduce range of motion. And you'll also notice that from the side, my hips are low. They're not like this. They're nice and low like that. So that as I pull the weight up, I'm actually pushing through my heels and explosively through my hips to bring the bar to the top of the movement. So just like this. And repeat for reps. Now for a sumo deadlift, the setup is a little bit different. You're going to have your feet a bit wider like this. And as your feet get wider, what you're going to do is you're going to adjust your legs so that your knees are always tracking over your toes. So for example, if you were sumo deadlifting and your feet were like this, your knees would actually kind of be put into a compromised position where there'd be a lot of strain on them because they're trying to go this way, but your toes are pointing that way. Your toes have got to be pointed out a little bit like this. So as you do the movement, they go out and in the same way. Once in position, again, you're going to reach down, get your arms as straight as possible, grab the barbell, and pull up just like this. So now that you know what each variation looks like, which one should you start with? Well, if you have the flexibility, I think you guys should definitely start off with the conventional deadlift, and it's for a few different reasons. Number one, it is a bit more taxing on your central nervous system, and I want you guys to make sure that you're challenging yourselves and you're getting stronger overall, and a conventional deadlift can definitely help with that. And number two, it can transition better into other exercises that you might be doing if you're getting into CrossFit or competitive powerlifting. So keep that in mind. Now, if you cannot get into position, then obviously there's a clear issue. If you have tightness in your hips and you can't get low enough to actually grab the bar and push through your legs and hips to get to the top of the movement, what's going to happen is this. You're going to get down, you're going to get into position, and then instead of pushing through your legs, you're going to end up pulling with your back. And what's going to happen if you're pulling with your back? You're going to blow out your lower back, probably as you start lifting heavier and heavier weights. So that's a big no-no. So if you have a hard time with flexibility, I suggest you start off with the sumo variation. And also, guys, the sumo variation, it works the same muscles as the conventional deadlift, but it will place a bit more emphasis on your glutes and your hamstrings. So if your leg routine, is good, but the muscle development of your glutes and hamstrings is maybe subpar to the rest of the muscles in your legs, it'd be really nice for you to switch up your conventional deadlift to a sumo deadlift, try to get a bit more activation in those glutes and hamstrings to even out your legs and get bigger and stronger. So these are some things that you should think about when picking the right deadlift. No matter what variation you choose, you can take it to a crazy level. There's people who competitively power lift, and there's dudes that can lift super heavy with conventional, and there's dudes that can lift super heavy with sumo. At that point, it just comes down to personal preference. But when you first start out, you have to make a decision. Do you want to deadlift conventional so that you can maybe strain your body a bit more, get used to it, and then take that with you into other exercises. Or maybe your hips are tight, so you want to do a sumo deadlift, which is a little bit less taxing on your central nervous system, which means you can do it more times throughout the week, and it won't tear you down as much as the conventional does. And you can also try to improve some imbalances you might have in your glutes and hamstrings. So really comes down to those things, guys. And if you enjoyed the video and this helped you make a decision on where to start, please show some love by smashing that like button, subscribing if you haven't already. Oh, and one last thing, guys. If you do have tightness in your hips that you just cannot seem to get rid of and it's affecting other exercises you're doing, I have an article on my website that shows a lot of amazing exercises and stretches and warm-ups that you can do to help fix the tightness in your hips as you progress with your lifting routine. So make sure you check that out as well. And as always, more good stuff coming soon. See you guys.